So how do we ask questions in French? Well, you'll see, it's very easy. Facile. There are in fact 3 ways to ask questions in French. So let's have a look at the first one. Here you have a statement. Vous avez des pommes. Vous avez des pommes. All you have to do here is to swap these 2 words, the avez, the verb, with the vous. So let's do it. And let's not forget the question mark and the little dash between the avez and the vous that shows that in fact we swap them round. And what it means is have you apples, a bit like when you say in English, have you got the time? Have you? It's exactly the same principle. Let's practice. We have some statements here. Tu as l'heure, you have the time. Vous avez ma clé, you have my key. Tu aimes Paris, you like Paris. Vous pouvez m'aider, you can help me. Tu veux boire un verre, you want to go for a drink. What you have to do is to turn these statements into questions using method 1 that we've seen earlier. You probably need to pause the video to allow you some time to formulate your answers. And once you're ready, we'll check. C'est parti. Voici les réponses. Tu as l'heure becomes in a question, as-tu l'heure? Do you have the time? Vous avez ma clé becomes, avez-vous ma clé? Tu aimes Paris becomes, aimes-tu Paris? Vous pouvez m'aider? Pouvez-vous m'aider? Tu veux boire un verre? Veux-tu boire un verre? The second method to ask questions is just as easy as the first one. You must recognize the statement we had for method 1. Vous avez des pommes, you have some apples. And all we have to do here is add this. Est-ce que? Est-ce que? By adding this, you just turned the sentence into a question, which means, do you have apples? Let's practice again. We have the same statements as earlier, but this time you need to turn them into questions using est-ce que. So you can pause the video to complete the activity, and once you're ready, we'll check the answers. Voici les réponses. Here are the answers. Tu as l'heure becomes, est-ce que tu as l'heure? Vous avez ma clé becomes, est-ce que vous avez ma clé? Tu aimes Paris becomes, est-ce que tu aimes Paris? Vous pouvez m'aider becomes, est-ce que vous pouvez m'aider? Tu veux boire un verre becomes, est-ce que tu veux boire un verre? The last method of asking question is probably the easiest, and you'll see why in a minute. So we've got the same statement as earlier, vous avez des pommes, and all we have to do now is to change our intonation and turn it into rising tone, rising intonation. So if I read this statement, vous avez des pommes, it doesn't sound like a question, but if I say, vous avez des pommes? Vous avez des pommes? It becomes a question. So for the last bit of practice, and we're going to do this one together, using your intonation, try to turn these statements into questions. So I'm going to read the statement and probably a second or two later, I'm going to give you the question. Vous êtes prêts? C'est parti. Tu as l'heure. Tu as l'heure? Vous avez ma clé. Vous avez ma clé? Tu aimes Paris. Tu aimes Paris? Vous pouvez m'aider. Vous pouvez m'aider? Tu veux boire un verre? Tu veux boire un verre? To make requests in French, you probably need only a few structures. The first one, and one of the most common ones, is this one. Je voudrais. Je voudrais. Now you might want something. For example, je voudrais l'addition, the bill. Je voudrais un café. Je voudrais une fourchette. Je voudrais ma clé. Je voudrais des pommes, etc. But you might want to do something. And in this case, you're going to use an action word, a verb. Je voudrais payer par carte. Je voudrais aller au musée. Je voudrais réserver une table. Je voudrais acheter un ticket. Je voudrais essayer. Je voudrais faire la visite. Another way to ask for things in French is to use je peux or je pourrais. Je peux means I can. Je pourrais means I could. So these are statements, so remember to raise your intonation to turn them into requests. Next, after these two phrases, what we might need is a verb, so that we can ask, can I have or could I have? And this is it. Avoir means to have. So can I have? Je peux avoir? Or could I have? Je pourrais avoir? And then you can list a number of things that you could have. Je peux avoir l'addition? Je pourrais avoir un café? Je peux avoir une fourchette? Je pourrais avoir ma clé? Je peux avoir des pommes? Now with other verbs, other actions, it works exactly the same way. Je peux payer par carte. Je pourrais aller au musée. Je peux réserver une table. Je pourrais acheter un ticket. Je peux essayer. Je pourrais faire la visite. Another useful way to request things is this structure. C'est possible de. C'est possible de. Note that there is a little D apostrophe in the case that the word that follows starts with a vowel, as in this. C'est possible d'avoir. Is it possible to have and what you want? C'est possible d'avoir l'addition. C'est possible d'avoir un café. C'est possible d'avoir une fourchette. C'est possible d'avoir ma clé. C'est possible d'avoir des pommes. And of course, you can use this structure with other verbs. C'est possible de payer par carte. So this time I use de in full, no apostrophe, because pay is a consonant. C'est possible d'aller au musée. C'est possible de réserver une table. C'est possible d'acheter un ticket. C'est possible d'essayer. C'est possible de faire la visite. Now there is a very easy way to ask for things, that doesn't require a lot of vocabulary or knowing complex structures. And this is simply to think about what you're requesting, for example, l'addition, un café, une fourchette, whatever you want, and to add the polite phrase, s'il vous plaît, in the formal form, or s'il te plaît in its informal form. For example, l'addition s'il vous plaît, un café s'il te plaît, une fourchette s'il vous plaît, ma clé s'il vous plaît, des pommes s'il te plaît. And this is perfectly acceptable, it's simple, and it communicates what you need. If everything fails, there's always one little thing you can do, is to point at what you're requesting and use this word, ça, and be polite. Ça, s'il vous plaît. Ça, s'il te plaît. The important bit is always to communicate. The way you do it doesn't really matter as long as you can get your message across. Félicitations! You've now completed lesson 10, which means you've also completed the beginner's course. I hope you found the lessons useful and that they will give you the confidence to carry on learning more French. In the meantime, what you need to do perhaps is to practice again, go through the videos again, possibly with the help of the handouts that you can download from our website. And if you can, put what you've learned into practice. That's the best way to experience more learning. But for now, all that there is left for me to say is au revoir et à bientôt.